Democrat Scott Peters has represented California's 52nd district since 2013. He is facing a handful of challengers to represent the district that includes part of San Diego County. One of them, Michael Allman, is a businessman who is running on a direct democracy platform. And California Republican congressional candidate Michael Allman joins me now. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
So let me start off by asking you, Michael, your platform, direct democracy, can you explain that for us, and what would that look like?
It's very simple, Elaine. It's where I vote with the people. So I'm going to ask the citizens of California, of San Diego, questions, and they're going to tell me how they want me to vote. My commitment is to vote in Congress the way that they want me to vote on an issue-by-issue basis.
So that was going to be my next question. Are we talking about every single vote or just major votes?
Well, not every single vote. Of course, thousands of votes are taken every session. But certainly, I'm now going to give the citizens of San Diego a chance to land on a candidate where it isn't all about party. The problem is today we have a Democrat in place who votes with the Democratic Party all of the time. San Diego is not a Democratic county. It's 1/3 Democrat, 1/3 Republican, and 1/3 independent. But they have no place to land today. So I'm going to be able to mix and match issues the way the citizens want them.
Is there any concern on your part about people potentially abusing this kind of system?
Well, you do have to make sure that we count the votes right and that it's confidential, and that's where the technology comes in. I've developed a website technology that's blockchain-based to make sure that all the votes add up. Only registered voters are allowed to vote, and it can't be tampered with. So it's a great system.
Well, how do you get people to participate? What's your plan for that?
So that is the key. I have to drive participation, and that's my job. But my polling shows me that people want to participate. They just don't know how. It's a completely unsatisfying experience to call your congressman. You don't know whether they listen to you. You know, you can't trust whether you're going to be heard or not. Now people will be able to be heard in real time. So then when it comes time for me to take a vote in Congress, I'll know which way the constituents are. They're tired of not being listened to.
How do you engage them, though? I mean, what's your plan for doing that?
Well, there's a platform where that they can go to. We also have push technology, so people can opt in and get a text message when something is of interest to them. Plus, we're going to reach out to all of the voters.
And are you planning on always siding with constituents or just hearing from them ahead of your vote?
Essentially always with them. My job, I'm going to have opinions. My job is to educate them on why I think a certain position is the best for the country and best for my constituents. But they have an override veto. So if they don't like the way I'm going and they vote and tell me, no, I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to go the other way, then that's my commitment. Yeah. I'll vote with them, even if it's against my personal view.
Well, let me ask you this. In the Federalist Papers, James Madison warned of the, quote, tyranny of the majority. Wouldn't this notion of direct democracy undermine the representative democracy that the Founding Fathers set up?
That's a great question. So it still is a representative democracy. I don't need to have any constitutional changes or any law change. It's just a commitment that I make to the people. Now, we can try to find these edges where, oh, it'll be a tyranny of the mob, but that's not going to be a majority. The people on the edges aren't going to ultimately rule the day, and I think we have to give the citizens of San Diego more credit than that.
So you're not concerned that perhaps some of the loudest voices will be the ones that dominate these particular votes?
I don't think so, because when people will see the results live and in real time, and these questions don't go away. So whatever question we're thinking about, people will have a view, and if they're going one way and somebody doesn't like it, the solution is get online and vote and get engaged so that you can switch it the other way. I think it's going to encourage voter engagement and voter registration.
Well, what issues do you see as key in your race?
Well, there's a number of issues. Many of them are economic. How do we continue to grow the economy? How do we shrink the federal budget deficit and make sure that people have jobs and well-paying jobs? But there's also many social issues. California worries about, particularly San Diego, supporting the military, about individual liberty and individual rights, gay marriage and other rights. So it's a mix of issues that the people of San Diego care about.
What about for you personally? What issues matter most to you?
For me personally, I think that the economics really drive a lot of our social goods. So when we have people working, when we have people, the economy growing and making money, I think it solves a lot of our ills. I mean, we've had reduced crime rates because the economy's been growing. So that would be really one of my focus. How do we make people wealthier and more satisfied with the work that they have?
Well, dozens of other Republicans in Congress have decided not to run this year. So why do you want to run now?
Well, I think now there's a number of reasons why now makes sense. First of all, we had to have the technology available to be able to have this confidential blockchain-based voting system. People want to be engaged, whether you like Donald Trump or not. The election last year caused people to pay attention to politics more often than not. So I think now's the right time for change. People are not happy with our two-party system where, frankly, on both sides, members of Congress vote up and down the party lines almost all the time. I'm not going to be afraid to cross party lines when the people demand that.
You mentioned President Trump. How much a factor do you think he will be in your race?
I think it's a big factor. People either seem to love him or hate him, and that kind of mentality of us versus them, red versus blue, is something that I'm going to try to break. We shouldn't have a stigma associated with calling out our president when we don't agree with his policies. That's where I pivot to, is I call him out when I don't like his policies, and I support him when I do like his policies.
And in those, in that area, where would you say that you most vehemently disagree with the president?
Well, certainly building the wall I don't think is the right thing to do, literally a wall. I do applaud the president for his recent proposal to handle DACA. I think that was a good move. So mostly I think people get upset about the way he communicates, not necessarily about how he communicates.
All right, Michael Allman, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.